watching Leicester Till I Die TV.
Watch us on YouTube.
Listen on your favourite podcast platform.
Or ask your smart speaker
To play the podcast Leicester Till I Die.
Right, Chris.
All right, welcome along. Good evening, good day, good morning, good afternoon, good night, goodbye. Hello, how the devil are you all? Welcome along. This is LTID TV from Leicester Till I Die. We've had a week off, and my God, it's gone like mad. I was at a barbecue on Saturday and had to come back early. Leicester cannot do anything like Monday to Friday, 9 till 5. No, they've got to do it on a Saturday, announce a couple of signings. But at least we've got a couple of signings in. That is the main thing. But thank you for joining us, whether you're doing that via YouTube. And if you are, please feel free to join in the comments. One or two of you already have. Keep it clean and respectful, of course. Or if you're listening on your favourite podcast platform, thank you so very much for doing that as well and for lending me your ears. And you can join us on any of our many socials. You can see them all going across the bottom there in full glorious colour. LTID TV on most of them. Less little I down one or two that have been going that long that I can't change it. Bugger. But there we go. Tonight's show is just a catch-up. It's the debate show. We have got no Iggle Piggle with us. He is driving back from Bognor. Driving back from Bognor. That was a Chris Rea song, wasn't it? Anyway, I don't know. Hopefully he'll avoid the other dodgems that he might meet on the way. But I just want to say, first of all, thank you very, 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 very much to Spencer, who has become our newest member. We've lost one, unfortunately, in Marcus Sports, but he was a Newcastle fan, and in fairness, we have gone down a league now, so I kind of get it. But Spencer, welcome along, sir. If you want to become a member, it's only $1.99 of your good English pounds a calendar month, and you get all sorts of goodies thrown in, including being invited to come on this show. And we've got our first victim, our first volunteer who's going to come on tonight and take part in Tony, and we will bring him on in a bit. But that's one of the things that you get a chance to come on the shows and join in as well. And once the season starts and we have enough members, I hope to be doing some member-only shows as well. But it has all been happening. I like this. I know that it's nice to kick another team when they're down. It's even nice to kick it when it's Arsenal. But basically, as I put there, how to make yourself look like an arse in 5 easy steps. Did you see what I did? Did you see what I did there? Oh, God, I don't waste my afternoons. All those pictures of Maddison in Arsenal shirts over the last couple of seasons, and he's gone to your biggest rivals. Arsenal fans, will you stop thinking that you are this club that players are going to walk barefoot over broken glass to just because you are Arsenal that haven't won anything? Well, we've won more since you have, let's be honest with you. FA Cup a while ago. So look, stop it, Arsenal. Just if the player's going to sign, I think the last player, and I say nobody's ever corrected me on this, but I think the last player that we've actually ever signed, or they've ever signed from us, was Alan Smith. But they just get excited every season, every window. They just come in and stick their shirt on other players' heads. All these Vardy was one. Maddison. Honestly, honestly. But there we go. Look, it keeps Arsenal fans happy, doesn't it? It gives them something to do with the colouring book. So we'd like to look after those that are less fortunate than ourselves. But Spencer, thank you so very, very much indeed for becoming the latest member. It is the debate show tonight. Let's talk Leicester. A couple more comments just before I get our guests in, which if I can bring up and press the right button, I always find that helps. Leicester Till I Die is in. Great name, mate. Great name. We were the second one because Spence was already in, but you weren't to see that because it was a member message. But Michael Gamble, hi, Michael David. I can never remember. I think you're David, aren't you? How the devil are you? You need to stop that finger pressing on those buttons there, Leicester Till I Die. Connor Cody, indeed, and we will be talking about him later. Stuart's in. Howdy, Stuart. How the devil are you? As is Terry. Welcome along. Have you finished with that white shirt you got? I'm not sure what you mean by that. Explain that one to me. James, more evening, James. How are you? Loving the content as always. Brilliant, mate. Thanks very much. It means a lot. It's so nice to feel optimistic about Leicester again. I tell you what, it does, doesn't it? If we've got to drop a league to when we dropped to League Two, but we're actually winning games. It did make a change, didn't it? And Terry number 2 is in. Terry Payne. I love your brother, mate. Window, how's he doing? Oh, I'm sorry. And I've got to practice for the breakfast show that I'm starts on Wednesday. The breakfast show. More details about that later. But I've got to get my jokes in for that. But talking about jokes, and that's been very unfair. But let's bring him in. You know him. He's the man, the myth, the legend. Brad. Good evening, sir. How are you?
Well, I was fine until I got my put down there and told him a joke. So, yeah.
Oh, I called you a legend as well. Come on.
Well, that is very true. But there is always positive to anyone who throws an insult towards you in the greatest of jests, because I'd rather be a joke than an Arsenal fan. So, there is that.
And I think most people would be. I mean, they do it every window, don't they? Come on.
Yeah, they do. I can't wait for the next player to be photoshopped into an Arsenal shirt only to go elsewhere.
Yes, that's fine. Yeah, I got your message, Terry. I'm just waiting to bring you in. Did I must have had that nice shirt you had on a few moans ago. I don't moan. How dare you? How dare you, sir? I've got that many Leicester shirts. I don't know what I'm due. Coventry at home. Yeah. Look, like I said, $1.99. Become a member. One of the things that you can do is come on the show as a guest, and that is exactly what this guy has done. So let's bring him on now and say hello to Tony. And
Hello.
there he is. Hello, mate. How the devil are you?
I'm good, yep.
Good. Excited now?
Yep.
I know I said keep the answer short, but we're doing well. Brad, Enzo, I mean, it was a surprise, but it has got me excited.
Yeah, it has me a bit more because at least we're in the Championship. I wouldn't have been thrilled if he'd have been appointed as a Premier League manager, because I have to stand by what I say. You shouldn't just be given a job because you're someone's number 2 or an ex-player. But at least he's worked in the game a lot longer than some of these ex-pros that go straight into management. So I value that more over I ever do a Scott Parker. And I think if you said to any Leicester fan out there, Scott Parker, Steven Gerrard, or Pep Guardiola's number 2, it's not even. Once you finish laughing and you gain, your oxygen back in your lungs, then you might be able to breathe. Actually, I don't know. I might have failed side. Oxygen might kill your lungs, so you know what I meant, though.
I know what you meant. I've told you before. Stop drinking on the show, Tony. I mean, Gerrard has been named manager of Saudi side Al Ettifaq. I think that Steven Gerrard, with his accent, thought it was the Etihad that he was going to. But no, it is Al Ettifaq. He was going, then he came back, and I think every English club that isn't got a manager who can breathe a sigh of relief now. I mean, compared to that, and as Brad said, Parker, we've got to be happy with Enzo, haven't we?
Yeah. I can't believe that country's taken players at the Premier League, and now they're trying to take managers away as well. I think they've set up. I think before you know it, they're going to take a load of ex players and managers away in the next couple of seasons. That's
I
what
mean,
I'm saying.
yeah, well, they already are doing, I think, aren't they, really? But is it... I've heard a lot of club owners and fans have been coming out, like you just said there, but surely, Brad, that's what the Premier League's been doing for the last 30 years?
Yeah, but it's on a different scale. And I know people might say, oh, it's better structured now, but China did this, didn't they? And look how that went. Players took the move. Some admitted it was purely for money. Others tried to make it sound like like China was always an ambition to go and play in. I remember, was it like a couple of seasons, Russia? They did it, didn't they? They had like Roberto Carlos and that going there. How long will it last at Saudi Arabia before the effect wears off? I mean, maybe if the likes of Mbappe and that sod off to it, I wouldn't care too much. I don't watch their leagues, but choosing greed over a stable job, off you go then. So you'll keep the better footballers over here for wanting to play the sport for me.
At the end of the day, I guess, Tony, that it is all about wages, and to a lot of these players, it's just a job. I mean, look at like Maddison. I mean, and we'll be talking about him and Soyuncu, etc. later. But Leicester to them is just a job. And if I know I've left enough jobs. Two reasons you leave a job. One is to move up the ladder, and the second one is to get a better pay packet. So they're no different, are they?
No, but I'd like to see if Brad and you, Chris, agree with what I'm about to say is about wages. Is where I think Havertz just obviously just signed for Arsenal, and he's on about 330k a week. And then you look at Carlos Tevez a couple of years ago, was on 600k a week, and I'm thinking, what 600k a week? And you got us only getting £10.50 an hour. That's obscene, amount of money.
Brad, your thoughts on that? I mean, it is, but the argument back, I suppose, is the fact that it could be a very short career.
Yeah, it will be. And you're talking, I mean, Arsenal's stupid because they've been making this mistakes for years. I don't know how many times they need to pay someone 300 grand a year for him to turn into an absolute flop and stop playing for them. Sanchez was the main one. Ozil was another one. Now they're doing the same with Kai Havertz, who's been awful at Chelsea for the last few seasons. It don't last. They don't care. Well, I mean, at the end of the day, can you blame the players? I get what Tony's saying about, oh, we're on £10 something an hour and they're on that. But if someone said to me, Brad, leave your... I know I was not working, but that's how I was. And someone said, Brad, I want you to go and sit on a beach and build sandcastles and go and enjoy yourself, and I'm going to pay you 300 grand a week to do it. Or, Brad, go and work at the King Power. I'm going to ask if they can build a beach at the King Power and get away with it both ways. But if not, I'm going to go sit on the beach for 300 grand a week. Yeah. You know what I mean? And that's what you're asking these players to do, because that's what they'll turn into.
Yeah. I just want to say, I'm going to up the say to you now, Chris. Look.
What's that?
Oh, it's a phone case of Arsenal.
Oh, no. No.
I'm banned.
No. Bye. I'm going to say hello to Neil, Beyond the 90, another great Leicester channel. Make sure to go and check him out if you haven't. Have you noticed that they've uploaded the full press conferences and being a tad more transparent about training now? We're going to be bringing it up actually in a second, Neil. None of us have seen it yet. I did notice it was actually 20 minutes long rather than the normal sort of 9 minutes long. So it could be, hopefully it's going to be interesting with being the first one. I've got to say a big, huge hello to Glenn from the Sky Blues Hub. Going to be doing a lot with him at the start of the season. Coventry fan, first match of the season. I called it. I said we'll be home to Coventry. The proper, none of this bloody Forest shit. Or Derby. It's the proper M69 Derby. Like you always say, Brad, if you've got a motorway named after the Derby, it's a proper one. And we will be coming on to Callum Doyle later. But he also says he wouldn't be signing Stefan on loan. Don't rate him. His clean sheet record at Borough was average at least. What we're comparing him to, eh? But again, we're going to be talking goalkeepers. Matthew, yeah, some good signings. We're going to be coming to all our new signings later, and of course he is a Cherries fan. Although go over and check out Up the Cherries in all departments, a good channel if you like Bournemouth. If you don't like Bournemouth, ignore them. But no, they're good. They're good football content as well. And Neil says, speaking of on the beach, that's where our players were last season. That is probably very true. They were there from about the second game, weren't they? But look, we are going to be looking, and this is going to be interesting because we covered, well, we got to the point, didn't we, Brad, where last season we were just getting fed up with the press conferences. They were so boring.
Yeah, I mean, we thought it'd be a smart idea to probably listen into what Brendan was saying and see if we could pick up on the reasons behind our fault. And all we got was, "You're beautiful people. You're this," and it's like, oh. I mean, for anyone who thought, why is Chris and Brad not doing the press conferences? It's because you could have watched the last 6 weeks. Funny enough, Chris, it was the same with the training videos. But I digress on training videos. I'm hoping this season will be better.
That what people don't realise is I think we only did about 6 shows covering the press conferences. We actually only did 1. The next 5 were just the first one repeated every week. But look, we're going to have Tony's not seen it, you've not seen it, I've not seen it.
No.
And I'm looking forward to this. Oops, let me just put it back in. So we are going to be looking at his first press conference. Let me press all the right buttons. Here we go. Straight into it.
First of all, good afternoon. And we all know the targets, but I think the most important thing is to go step by step. And that means now the most important thing is to create the right squad with the right players, or at least the players that we think they can fit with the idea. And then it's just, as I said at the beginning, it's first of all to create something important and then to build. And the target, because the club deserve probably something different, we all know the target.
Is that target an immediate return to the Premier League?
To be honest, I like to, because I know quite well the idea, I like to talk about, first of all, about the process that brings us to get promoted. That at the end is the most important thing. Then if it's this year, hopefully, if not, it's important to build something important for the next 3-5 years.
You talked there about building a squad here. You've got 2 players in already.
Fuck me, they've had 18 months to get a new mic. Fucking hell.
I'm just thinking that. Just going to say that.
Yeah, I think it's a good signal from the club, and because they are both very, very important players, not only in terms of quality inside the pitch, but also we are looking for players that they can be example for the young players and for the rest of the teammates. So Connor is one of that guy. Even Harry, it's a good one. And the idea is to bring in more players with quality, not only inside the pitch, as I said, but also they can help us to build, as I said before, something important. Not only, I know that most of us, we are worried about what's happened tomorrow. But the idea for us is also see a little bit more longer.
You've lost some players. Obviously, James Maddison has now departed. Will there be many more departures? Do you know how many?
Can't hear anything.
No, it's ridiculous.
Players you want to bring in?
No, anyway, it's difficult because until the market is open, anything can happen for us and for the other clubs. So at the moment, as you said, 7 players expired contract. Maddison left, and probably can happen that some more of the players they can leave. But at the same time, if somebody leave, we can bring in some new players.
You had an incredible year working closely with Pep Guardiola last season. What did you learn from him, and will he continue to be able to be there to offer advice to you?
Sign language is available.
I always try to learn as much as I can. Last year happened exactly the same. Has been anyway an unbelievable season because we achieved almost all the target. But at the end, yeah, as I said, I just try to learn every day, there and here.
Will you see a sense of what you learned there from him and kind of football he plays? Will you see that on the pitch?
You want to know
Oh
if
God,
we
how
are
poor
going
is
to
that?
play in the same way, yeah? No, anyway, it's we are. The idea it's that idea, but as I said at the beginning, it's not tomorrow. It's a process. So the idea is to try to play in one way, the way we want, but that requires time. Hopefully, we can achieve as soon as possible.
Have you studied what it takes to get out of this league? The likes of what Burnley achieved last season, the way they played.
It seems fucking bored. Like someone else speaks, so I can understand what they're saying.
What it takes.
No, I think it's a complicated league. Also because many teams, they are always fighting to be promoted. And the way we always said the same, you can win in one way or you can win in different way. That means that one is good and the other one is not good. It's just to see the squad we create. And since that moment, we see the way we're gonna try to achieve our target.
Okay, I think what we'll do is because we can't hear the questions. It's absolutely ridiculous.
That's absolutely tragic. I've seen 5 people performing in a garage with better communications than that. She's awful. Get her a mic for fuck's sake.
Well, I don't think it's her. In fairness, we do know it's.
Well, I don't know because Rob Tanner always seems to be able to be here, doesn't he? So do they bring their own mic?
Possibly. That's you've heard of a bring a drink to a party.
I
This is
agree
bring a
with that.
mic to an interview. I mean, we've it is ridiculous. Like Neil said, they're one of the best training grounds in the world. We got one microphone. Look, let's have a go through the questions that were starting that were asked here. We'll go through them basically. Target. Tony, he said, we all know the targets. The most important thing is to go step by step. Now it's to create the right squad with the right players, or at least with players we feel can fit the idea. Then it's to create something important, then to build. The club deserves something different.
Yeah. When I was watching Leicester City last season, I just thought they were very bad at the back. Obviously, and I just found them so sloppy at the back. Set pieces was bad. But what I find is when I'm watching games at any team, they never have a striker up the pitch. They're always in the box. And when they clear the ball out the box, where's the striker to try and collect the ball? In the box. They're not actually on the other side to try and collect the ball and run.
Yeah. And Brad, I mean, we all know the targets. That's the one I just read, isn't it? Promotion, to be honest, because I know quite well the idea. I like to talk about the process to get promoted. If it's this year, hopefully. If not, it's important to build for the real to build for the next 3 or 5 years. Again, saving it, saying the right things.
Yeah, he's going to do as well, and you've got to appreciate the fact that English isn't his first language, and when the woman's waffling on and the question's longer than one of my answers, it's to give the answer he's kind of give is impressive, because he's basically just saying that, look, we're trying to do this in as many block steps as we can. We're hopeful for promotion, but he's basically not been told that he has to get promotion or he's out the door. You decide it's like compete, probably minimum is top 6, but the plan is to keep going and keep improving if we don't quite do it at the first attempt.
Yeah. I mean, Tony, I can just say somebody's just mentioned Thunder. I've timed you out for 10 minutes of that comment. And somebody mentioned about subtitles. Yes, there are subtitles on YouTube, but unfortunately not on LCFC.com. And if I play YouTube, I get my hand slapped and get another step on the naughty ladder. So I've got to go via LCFC and hope that one day they do fix the microphones. Tony, we'll talk about Cody and Winks separately later. When you're talking about transfers, it's difficult when the market is open. Anything can happen. At the moment, 7 players have their contracts expired. Maddison left, and some more players can leave. But at the same time, if players leave, we can bring in more players. We expect more players to leave, don't we? One of those more than likely will probably be Barnes, because he is sellable.
Yeah. Do you think we should keep Barnes, Harvey Barnes? Because I think he'd be quite good in the Championship.
I think we need to cash in on him personally, Brad.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's out of our hands whether it's a case of we keep Barnes or not. He's definitely an asset. He's an asset either way, isn't he? He's an asset in the Championship because he's got that quality, he's got that pace, he's got lots of Premier League experience to take down to that level. So, and he's an asset if we sell him, because he's going to be 20, 25 million. We're going to demand that sort of money for him because we're in a good financial situation. And again, remember, people, FFP and being financially stable are completely 2 different things, unless you're Everton and Man City, but we won't talk about that.
Yeah.
So I would personally like to see him stay because I can see what he offers. But if we sell him, it's a great asset. And I think that's why he's a bit, I wouldn't say tight-lipped on how we're going to... He didn't really give away a playing style or anything like that. It's because it is an annoying transfer window, especially when you're relegated side, because you can't really, as much as you try to, form a style of play until you know exactly what squad you've got. And over the next coming weeks, that will be developed.
Although I'm sure he will probably have a style that he wants to play too, and will hopefully get the players in that will adapt to that. Like Glenn said, Barnes was class in the Championship. The amazing if a top Premier League club don't snap him up, although I believe West Ham are after him. Would you keep him then, Tony? What would you do? Because he's, like Brad said, it's a win-win really for Leicester.
Yeah, like I just saw the comment with Glenn. When I've seen Barnes play, he's quick, he's good on the ball. He'll cause a lot of havoc in the Championship. To be honest, I'd keep him.
Oh yeah, no. Well, like I say, if we do, I'm not going to moan, but he is. If we do need to raise the money, like you say, and what we're going to remember is that these players we're bringing in. All right, we've got a couple of good signings, a couple of good prices. We'll come on to later, but they're going to be on less wages than those players that we're selling, probably. But as Neil said here, Enzo basically said, look, play for us. If you don't want to, go. And that's the right attitude to have. He said basically, as Man City, I will always try and learn. What did you take from Pep Guardiola? He did say a box of tea bags and a jar of coffee. But he also said, you want to know if we will play the same way. it's that idea. But as I said, it's not tomorrow. It's a process. The idea of trying to play one way, but that requires time. Hopefully, we can do it as quick as possible. Brad, the thing that worries me here is that everybody, oh, we're going to play this way, we're going to play the Guardiola way, we're going to be playing it out from the back, which is what I've heard he likes to do. And then give them 3 or 4 months and they'll be moaning, oh, we're not making the most of Vardy or the forward players. We have to accept that we've moved on from those Vardy years, if you like. I mean, yes, he's still with us, but yeah, it's like West Ham always having to play the West Ham way. You don't, because football evolves, and the teams and the managers, whatever, you've got to evolve themselves. But at the end of the day, I don't care how he plays as long as it's a winning way.
Yeah, definitely. I know there's some odd, strange fans out there, not just Leicester fans, in any club that seem to want fancy flowing, tricky dicky football over victories. I don't care if they play the most dullest dishwater football ever if we're winning each week or at least not losing games. I couldn't give a monkey's how we play the football. But I understand it as well. And again, I feel a bit harsh saying it's lazy journalism because it's an easy question to ask because you're bound to ask it. He came from Man City. Like, you're expecting it. And like he said, he kind of expected the question, didn't he? By going, oh, you're expecting me to say we're going to play out that. And he's basically saying, that's what I've learned. That's what I've been taught. But I've got to deal with what's in front of me, or I've got to build a squad that can play that way. And and that is great to hear. I mean, as long as, because I can't see Connor Cody being like Vestergaard, because it's not like questions were raised that he doesn't fit into his system. There's not a single person that's gone, oh, I don't know if Connor Cody's good for tippy-tappy football. Well, A, we don't know exactly if that's what he's going to do, but if that's what he's going to try and build with the players we've got and the ones he brings in, I can't imagine this guy's bringing in Connor Cody to say, I'm going to make him fit my system like and get ready, Chris, a certain Bellend did with certain signings. Yeah,
I wasn't ready. You caught me out.
Bellend. Yeah, there you go. Bellend counter. That's on 37.
I'm going to move him up to the top so that he's always. I've lost him now. Totally.
Yeah.
Hang on.
Bellend.
There you go.
To the top. There we go.
Yeah. Well, as you said, the Bellend there. Just to reiterate it, you don't have to play it again. What was it, Chris? Vestergaard. Why did you bring him in? Doesn't fit into your system. Samare brought him in. I want him to play this way. But didn't you buy him to play this way? Well, now I've changed my mind. This guy seems to go, I'm willing to learn and try and get them, have a plan B and try and make the best out of the team I've got. But like he said, until he has a settled squad and he's got a guaranteed 15, 16 names that he definitely knows are going to stay at Leicester and not want to move, you can't really fully make that plan.
No.
That will be exciting to see, Chris.
It will. And obviously we're going to get more signings in. I've got to say, with the Championship, Tony, he said it's a complicated league because many teams, they are fighting to be promoted. You can win in different ways. We know, I mean, I don't think, although when you look at it, there's a lot of things to say, oh, this is how Burnley did it. They got a new manager in. They cleared out a lot of players. They got a lot of new players in, good players. And look what happened to them. I don't know if that's going to happen because there's a lot of good teams that are down there. Blackburn are a good team. Coventry only just missed out, by a penalty shootout. Although it was a bit fairer than the one last season. There's a lot of Middlesbrough had a good season. It's not going to be easy to get straight out, is it?
Sorry about this. We've got a cat trying to intervene in the interview.
That's all right. That's okay.
Yeah, what I was going to say was Championship's going to be pretty... it's going to be better than last year because last year the Championship was very average last year. But I do think this year with likes of Leeds, you guys have come down. And you got the likes of Norwich, my local team. It's going to be quite hard to get back. It's going to be very competitive to get back in the Premier League.
I don't think it was a average last. Do you think so, Brad? interested in what Tony was saying there.
Sorry, what was that, Chris? Sorry, I'll sort my phone out.
Sorry, I think, I don't think last season was particularly an easy league. I mean, once you get past the 5 big ones, then you've got the Championship, is recognised that, you've got the Premier League, you've got Serie A, you've got Liga, and you've got the Bundesliga. And then with the Championship, it's hard to get out of.
Very hard.
Yeah, my issue is people, and people are going to probably come at me in the comments of this, and I mean it with the greatest of respect when I say this. The Championship is the most competitive league, but it's filled with mediocre sides. And I know people are going to go, Brad, you can't say that. 3/4 of that league's ex-Premier League. Yeah, and 3/4 of that league hasn't been in the Premier League for over 10, 15 years. 3/4 of that team, that league's built up of Millwall and Stoke and Huddersfields and up until recently Barnsley before they went down the season before. Teams that absolutely stink in odour Championship. They eat, sleep and drink Championship because that's the only level they make it up to. And I don't know, maybe there's a statistic lover out there that, unlike myself, that could do the maths, but I would say 70% of teams that do get promoted after spending years in a Championship go straight back down. It's a very difficult league because they're all on that same level. I mean, I know it's been said tongue in cheek, but realistically, financially wise, we are that Man City of the Championship. We're a very strange team to have in there in terms of no Championships team do you see spend the money we've already spent on transfers.
Yeah,
I mean, we spent what, nearly 30 million on 2 transfers. You struggle to see that in the Championship.
No, it's about 18 million, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, sorry. I was thinking it was 18 million we paid for Cody, but it was 8 and 10, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, but 20 million, you're not going to see a Millwall spend that in over 2 windows, let alone 1 sometimes. So,
but that makes it harder, doesn't it, Tony? Because we are the team that everybody is going to want to win. Now, don't get me wrong, we are in that division because we deserve to be in that division. We were shit last year. All this sort of, you're too good to go down, bollocks. You're too bad to stay up.
The defence was bad.
You're too bad to stay up. And we were. So we deserve to be there. But no disrespect to Leeds, no disrespect to Southampton. Of the 3 that have come down, I think currently, on recent history, we're the bigger of the 3. And we are the team that everybody's going to want to come and beat. And they're going to look and think, look at Leicester spending all that money. And we are going to be the feather in a lot of teams' caps if they beat us.
Yeah. Do you agree, though? Do you agree? It's very hard to attract players to be in the Championship because most players want to play in the Premier League. It's going to be very hard to get players to join because they do prefer playing in the Premier League.
Well, I don't know. We've just got 2 ex-Premier League players signed for
It's obviously
us.
changed then.
Yeah, I think.
I think we're the exception now. I agree with what you're saying, Tony. I think a lot of other clubs struggle to attract that talent, but I think there's a feeling that Leicester not necessarily buy the title in a way because we're not a club that does that, but I think we're in a more fashionable position that Colin Cody's 30. He probably hasn't taken the biggest pay cut to come to Leicester. It's not like he's probably dropped from 65 down to 30. He's probably at best gone from 65 to 58. I'm not saying that's his wages. I think we're a very unique side in the Championship because we have that ability to maybe talk to a player that's out of sorts at their club and going, well, you know what, Championship full season, I'll go there because they can afford to. Not much difference in what I was on, sort of thing.
I think this season will be very pivotal with transfers because we can still attract names. And all right, you said this, I think, in a show recently, Brad. If we'd stayed up, would we have wanted the likes of Winks and Cody? Yeah, who possibly not. But we're not in that. We are in where we are. And if we do, they are on a 3-year deal. So if we go up, they've got the experience of the Premier League. But if we don't go up, then this time next year we may struggle to bring players in of a certain caliber. But then we know that when we went down to League One, the players that were brought in, very few of them were good enough for the Championship.
Yeah.
And but they did the job for us in League One. So, and in a way, I'm glad that we are no longer going out for the 30, 40, 50 million pound players, because they don't always work out. Slimani, Musa, there's a lot of players that we've wasted a lot of money. And now we've maybe got to go back to finding the Mahrezes, the Kantes, and that's not a bad thing.
Yeah, look at Chelsea. Look at Chelsea when they've done £600 million.
Yeah, yes. As Glenn said here, and Glenn is a Coventry fan. First season in the Championship is the best chance to get back up. If you miss out, it's a lot harder next season than the season after. It is the only advantage you get if you don't go back up is that you then get the parachute payments, which of course we don't get this season because we still get the Premier League payment, 110 million, I think it is. So we're not in a bad financial position, but it's a good point that Glenn said. And as Terry said, the training ground has a pull. Yes, it does. How are you as a manager? He said, I always like to be like a sponge. Oh dear. And try to learn every day. The most beautiful thing for the players is the ball. Why Leicester? It's an unbelievable. He's not going to say it. Well, they were the first team that came in for me, but he said it's an unbelievable club. Personally, for me, it's been difficult since I joined Man City. We felt part of the family there, but professionally, I had no doubts Leicester is an important club. A Premiership club, and we have to adapt. I mean, he's not making any false promises, is he, Brad?
No, he's not. He's keeping it real, as the kids would say. Is that what they say these days, or is that an older generation?
Trying to be down with the kids.
I know. What am I like? But no, he's keeping it simple. He's keeping it down to earth. He's keeping it very respectable. At the end of the day, you can't get, you can't get ahead of yourself. He's got to. And again, it's very much a typical first press conference in a sense. He's keeping it calm. He's not getting the fans overly excited. And I don't mean that in a bad way, but I mean he's not trying to convince us that this is going to be the best thing we've ever seen since God knows when. He's just answering the questions as they are, and he's not trying to give too much away.
Yeah, just trying to pick the main points out here. The way, how is he going to play to have the ball? Well, it's pretty hard to play without the ball. But that joking aside, he has said that he wants his players to be able to play off the ball. And that's something, Tony, we never saw not towards the end under Brendan, is that if they didn't have the ball, there was no sort of running to play off to give another Leicester player an opportunity or somebody to pass the ball to. And if that's his philosophy, that he wants those players, to my mind, it's basic football, isn't it?
Yeah, I agree with that. It's the same as when he's saying he wants to play the ball from the back because my team, my local team, Norwich City, they always played from the back, and the opponents always took the ball off us really quickly. I just prefer teams to kick the ball up and see if they can get the ball. If they get the ball, and then try and do possession that way instead of trying passing the ball from the back. I don't think it works.
Well, I mean, I'm not as Brad will testify. I don't like playing out from the back, but maybe that was because of the way we played out from the back before. Because nobody was making the moves, were they, Brad? The defender would be there, and you think, "What the fuck am I going to do with this?" Oh, I've got to pass it back to the goalkeeper.
Yeah, it's how you go about using that style, whether it's successful or not. And the one thing Leicester did really wrong last season was they tried to get it to the forwards really quickly, but something must have got lost every week in translation because that led to them having the ball go to Ward or Iverson, depending on which week it was. He'd kick it to out phase, and he'd turn around and Vardy would be 3 inches away from him. And it's like, okay, I'll go at the striker now. What? When it's progression movement, I think what Enzo's saying is to get the ball. But there's two things you can do as a footballer, right? Is the smart, be alert and make the smart choice when you've got the ball. And if you've not got the ball, make sure you're in a position to receive the ball. Get yourself in space and advance. And if you do that, you can make that pitch feel as wide as the Grand Canyon to your positions. If you've got the ball and the person on the ball's looking up and he's got 2 players to the right of him, 2 players to the left of him, and 2 players in front of him, the opposition, they won't know where to mark. They'll be like, do I get closer to him? But if I get closer to him, I'm too far away from him. And before they know it, the ball's past them and we've advanced into that final third. And if we get that sort of flow from it, I'm all about playing it out from the back and building an attack that way. But please, for the love of God, if I see Vardy on that pitch, I'll take a lifetime ban from King Power to run on the pitch, grab him by the scruff of the neck and get him in their half. Because if he treats him the way Brendan did, it'll be horrendous to watch.
Yeah. Glenn, we'll come back to your question. We're going to be talking about transfers later. Just Vardy staying. Yes, he wants him to stay. Barnes leaving. The marking is open. Anything can happen. We can bring players in. So like they said earlier, if he goes, he goes. If he stays, he stays. Adapting, we need to adapt to the Championship. Johnny Evans, it's just as we said before, we're creating a squad. I think, because we've been linked with another defender that we'll come on to again later when we talk transfers, I think Evans' time at the club is coming to an end. He was asked to only want signings in quickly. Now, I mean, a hell of a lot happened on that one day. We got 3-4 backroom staff in. We got 2 players in. It's like, is this really Leicester City? We don't normally, we've never been this quick, but it makes sense. Those 2 players that he signed, who I think are going to be 2 first team starters, let's be honest with you. I think when you look at who we've got now, I think they're definitely, some of the first names on the team sheet next season. But to have them in now on day 1 of training, I mean, it means a hell of a lot. Look at Wout Faes last year. He comes in at the last minute. In fact, we started the season, hadn't we? It does make sense to get everybody in early, doesn't it, Tony?
Yeah, it definitely does, because when you start panic buying in the transfer market, say the last 3 days of the transfer market, and you start bringing players in, the players, it's going to take about a couple of months to gel. So you need the pre-season games to actually get the good chemistry, so they can play well in the league games. Because if you get players in when the league games are starting, and it's very hard to actually make them new players to build the chemistry.
Indeed. Okay, look, I'm going to award every week, if we do this every week, I'm going to award the stupid question of the press conference award.
Oh, here we go.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the stupid question of the press conference award week 1. Can players come and speak to you? And what a stupid fucking question was that? I don't know who asked it. I really don't. But, I mean, and his answer was absolutely no problem. What did they expect him to fucking say? No, I lock my door. I go in with a copy of the Playboy. I'm having a wank. Nobody's coming in and talking to
Oh, my
me.
God.
I mean, Brad, that was the worst of some of the questions Brendan got asked.
That baffles me. How we said at the start how they need to get a more mic. Maybe it's for questions like that they're glad they don't have it. What sort of a stupid question? That's like Vardy having a conference, a press conference after a match, and going, Vardy, are you planning on scoring goals this season? And him, what they expect him to go? Nah, mate, I've scored enough for Leicester. I'm just here for the money, mate. Can players talk to me? Well, it'd be really difficult for me to get the philosophies across if they fucking didn't.
No. Well,
Jesus Christ.
I mean, Tony, that was number one, but this question did come in at a very, very close second. And the question was owners. Now, what is he again supposed to say to that? Nah, I fucking hate them. I hate anybody from the Far East. He got their ambitions are very high. When I first met them, nobody's happy after last season. That is normal. I like the ambition they had. What do they expect this guy to say?
Yeah, they do. These what is it? All these interviewers who's asking these questions. Half of them don't make any sense anyway. It's like you know when what is it? When you had Nigel Pearson, when he said something about something about ostrich. You're an ostrich because you're asking silly questions.
Yes.
They do.
I love a bit of our Nigel. I really do. He was then asked about Palmer. I think we're on the right path, but in the end, you cannot control other people's decisions. He was only there for 14 games. The guy didn't have any much of a chance, did he? Really? Pre-season trips. The pre-season has changed in the past 20 years. This is football today. We've got Thailand, Brad. Talk to me about this. And I understand why they've gone to Thailand. And in fairness, our owners, our managers have never really come out and said, oh, there's too many games being played. We've got too many games. I mean, what are we going to learn? No disrespect to them, playing Northampton, playing Burton Albion. We are going to learn more by playing Tottenham and Liverpool. Okay, so it's in Thailand, but our owners are from Thailand, so I can understand that.
Yeah, the location doesn't bother me. It makes perfect sense. That's where our owners are from. They've thrown us out there many a time for it. It's an honour for them to go out there and take their business over there if it is, and by that means take Leicester City over there to show the people of Thailand up close. You know that love the company and have become fans of the football club. What it's like to see them play live in person. I think it's great. Let's face it, we've said this a billion and one times, and just for the sake of it, I'm going to say it a billion and a second time now for everybody, just in case they haven't understood the semantics of a pre-season. It's for fitness. The reason we play Burton, Northampton, and teams like that is because their standard and quality of football. And what I mean by that is Tottenham and Liverpool, we know what we're going to come up against. We know the players, not just because we played in division, but their Premier League, their European experience, and then there's Tottenham. I was on about Liverpool for that first part. But you know what I mean? Like the toughness, the readiness, they're going to be a bit more sharper once that tournament winds up. They're not obviously be 100% ready for match fit, but they're going to match us in terms of temperament. With the greatest respect to the Northampton and Burtons, it's all about fitness. It's getting them sharp. It's losing that summer bod, using that summer fat, as they say, you know, trimming, getting their levels up, getting the stamina up. And the real test will come at Liverpool and when we play this James Maddison's trophyless army. Tottenham Hotspur. So yeah, I understand it all the way through. It's natural just to keep testing them because you don't want to play Man U, Tottenham, Liverpool, Arsenal as you and someone else as your 5 pre-season games. You'll knack them out. You want to, with the greatest respect, play somebody who hasn't got the footballing now of that sort of teams to kind of pass it around. Plus, we lose them, don't we? I think last pre-season we drew 1-1 with Notts County or something like that. So that
was the highlight, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, I mean, to me, every club has a set of fans that are maybe not fully got all the lights turned on in the house, shall we say that? And yes, we are no longer little old Leicester. We cannot be little old Leicester if you want us to be competing in Europe and competing in the top half of the Premier League, trying to get into the Conference Europa, Champions League, whichever. We cannot be little old Leicester. And if we are going to be a one of those clubs that's going to compete, we have to expand the fan base of Leicester City. We are only the only the only professional club in the county, but it is not exactly the most overpopulated county in the country. And we have got the cricket. Well, that's not particularly good at the moment. Sorry, Brad, I didn't mean to mention cricket. And we have got the rugby, so we have got the basketball, we have got the speedway. So there is a lot of competition. So how do you think clubs like Liverpool and Arsenal and Manchester United, how do you think they get the size they are by a lot of, and we joke about Man United, but we do need to get these fans from abroad. And if that means going abroad, yes, we're not going to increase the fan base by turning up at Burton Albion, but yes, we're going to increase the fitness, as you say. I love the question again. This is number 3, Tony. Question about West Brom. And he basically said, I had long hair then. I spent 2 years there. I was young. It was unbelievable, but it was more than 20 years ago. Again, what is the point of asking that bloody question?
Yeah, it's I'm gobsmacked how many stupid questions they're asking. You know, it's not actually a proper interview, is it?
Well, you know, you wonder whether they should actually check the questions first.
100%. It's not. You're not learning. You're not learning. You're not learning nothing from the manager, are you?
No. I mean, he got an easy ride, but it was nice to see him smile, Brad. But the question that he did ask at the good one at the end was: would it be a failure not to get top 6? I am completely relaxed because the most important thing is day by day. Build a good squad, then we see what happens. To think about May, it's too far. I mean, let's look at next season, Brad. And if it's all about stabilising for me. We've got to be careful that we don't drop, and I don't think we're going to drop into the 3rd tier, but we don't want to be in the bottom half. We want to be sort of, getting a foothold in the Championship. If we go back up, it's a bonus. We know that. But top 6 will not be the end of the world if we don't get it, will it? Or will it? Do you think it will?
I like the way he's answered the question because he's avoided the trap of saying we're building for that. That's what we're expecting. Because, the worst thing you can do to a set of fans of any club, no matter their size, is give them something to expect. Because, yes, us as fans make our own expectations. But if you hear a manager going, yeah, we want top 6, I'm not going to accept us not getting top 6. And we have to remember he's churning out 7, 8, 9, 10, maybe more players, and he's got to have to replace them players to a certain degree. Obviously, we'll still retain some of the players from last season, so it's not a complete rebuild. But if you put your neck out on the line and go, yeah, top 6, if anything else is a failure or something to that extent, then what if by October it hasn't quite ticked over yet and we haven't got the ball rolling and we're 12th?
Yeah.
If you've set them expectations to yourself, that's on you. But if you hear the manager say it, all of a sudden it'll be, boo, hiss, we're not it. No. Let him build the squad. Then he knows what the players and qualities got to see what we're capable of potentially achieving.
For you, Tony, is it a failure if we don't get top 6?
Definitely, because I see Leicester as a big club. They've got to be in the top 6. Definitely in the top 2, 100%. But I will tell you this now: I'm very, nervous because if you look to the likes of Bolton Wanderers, Portsmouth, wherever they used to be in the Premier League. And more about could Leicester suddenly do a Portsmouth? That's what that can happen.
Oh, it definitely can, can't it, Brad? I mean, we've seen a lot. I mean, no disrespecting, I know the Coventry fan is in, but it's taken them a while, and they've had their problems that going down the leagues causes financially, and what have you. And we've been there, seen it, got the T-shirt. We've gone bust once, very nearly went bust twice, but I don't think we will go down that road, to be honest with you, because we've got good owners, and I don't think they're
Yeah.
going to sort of walk away. I mean, when Milan Mandric sold Portsmouth, he sold it to the biggest crook probably going at that time. Obviously, there's a few more have appeared since then, but we got some good owners. They've just bumped, was it 92 million quid back into the club, so they're not going to walk away. And Dan, who was a Burnley fan, was saying this time last season, he wasn't. If he said, if we don't come back up, I sooner not come back up straight away, and then look at the prospect of coming straight back down again. If it means hanging around another season and coming back stronger, I still say, there is the worry that it could be another 10 years before we go back up. But look, that's football, isn't it?
Yeah, of course it is. And the thing is, look, the weight of expectation is going to come from other means. We're odds-on favourites. You look at our financial state, a bit of pulling power in that division. You look at the quality we've still at this moment in time, Chris. And I know, like you said, things can change. But if you looked at Leicester right now, that team is expected to maybe not walk the division. That's unkind. But maybe do a Burnley. Definitely be in control of that top two and be top three at worst sort of things right now. And that's going to change whether we like it or not. We're probably going to see 1, 2, maybe even 3 big name departures in terms of first team players. One that I'm dreading and I will have to have a day of mourning for if it's my favourite Leicester player, and especially if he goes to the red side of the train tracks.
No, let me think. Who could you be talking about?
Well, we'll have a breakup if he goes to Forest, to tell you that much. But no, right now the expectation would be Leicester odds on favourites, definitely top 2. If not, they're going to be there or thereabouts right up until the end of May. But you look at our signings, Chris, and I know people say, oh, you've only made 2 signings, you've lost Maddison. You've signed Connor Cody, the experience, which is the players he was on about trying to bring in, which is why he mentioned him. And he's brought in Harry Winks, who's probably at that point in the career where he's got everything to prove and wants to make a name for himself as a first-team regular. You have to remember, Chris, when we struggled in that division under the likes of Rob Kelly and when we turned Scottish for about a season and a half, shut up, Scott, ban him, Chris, ban him. Under when we became Scottish for a season and a half,
Yeah.
Momo Silla, Mark de Vries, Elvis Hammond, Barry Hales from bloody Holloway days. They were the sort of dross names we were dragging through this club. All right, with the odd success like Gareth McCauley, who actually stayed around and did well when he went West Brom. But, the list is on and on of absolute dross players. Connor Cody, Harry Winks, Jamie Vardy, Boubacar Samori, Wout Faze, Suter. It doesn't sound like a squad that's going to struggle in the Championship and have us fearing that we could do another 10 years.
When I was at the barbecue and I came up on my phone that we'd signed Cody and Winks, I was with 2 Man United fans, my brother-in-law and my brother-in-law's son. And they were actually both in shock. They couldn't believe that there were 2 players that we'd signed. They went, they've gone to Leicester. So, I mean, that kind of, in a way, sums it up because they are good signings. But Tony, and I want to move on from the press conference now. So we've done it for the first half of the show. Yeah. But do you think there is actually more expectation on Leicester than there was on Burnley this time last year? Because Burnley weren't expected to do that. Burnley were expected to struggle, maybe finish 6th or 7th. And I think, to be honest with you, I think Dan had predicted his team to finish, Burnley to finish about 10th or something. So there seems to be a lot more expectation, not just from Leicester fans, but from other Championship teams that, well, yeah, you're not going to struggle, you're going to go back up. There seems to be that extra pressure on us.
Yeah, I do find though to be really good in the Championship, you've got to be very physical. I found that out because my team, honestly, Norwich City, my team, my local club, we used to be very, very small players, no physicality at all, and you lose the ball really easily. You've got to be very skillful and very strong in the Championship to actually progress.
No, that's true. That is true. Right. Well, that's excuse me, the first half of the show over. We will be looking now at all the news, gossip, and well, there's plenty of gossip. There always is at this time of year, isn't there? I'm going to do it because I don't know how much longer I can do this for. Just for you, that, Brad. Just for you. But, oops. And Tony's gone. We will be back straight after I've rearranged the screen. There we go. We'll be back straight after this to look at
the Premier League. That's so last season. It's all about the Championship here on LTID TV.
Now that's what I call football.
You hit the right spot.
Okay, let's have a look, shall we? And we will go on to players that have been linked with us in the transfer. You see what I did there? Link. Yeah, you like that? I don't waste my days, I really don't.
Oh, I'm sure you don't, mate. I'd never accuse you of it.
Goalkeeper, Princess. And as I am going to be a music DJ, hopefully in a couple of days if we get the Gremlin sorted out. For those of you that remember Princess, say you're my number one. Who the hell is going to be our number one? Because apparently we've got to have 3 of our own. I put 2 of them there. 2 more that we've been linked with. We've been linked, obviously, with this guy that the gentleman from Coventry wasn't very keen on, Stefan from Manchester City. But then we've also been linked with James Trafford, who's just been playing for the England under-18s, I think it is, or under-21s, the goalkeeper, who's very good as well. I mean, what would you do if you were in Enzo's shoes?
I mean, first of all, you look at the badge and you say it's pretty obvious that we were going to get linked with Man City players. The turmoil we had at the back led to the turmoil of the goalkeeping situation. So it's, again, I hate to say it, and I'm not saying it's not plausible because you work with them. You do have players that follow the manager sort of way, or he would have worked with Enzo when he was Man City's under-23s manager. So they've worked with him at some level, at some degree. They've been around him in the first team if Stefan's been there as well. Not too much James Trafford, I can assume. But again, they work with him. There's always an idea. It's an area of weakness. But with the greatest respect, I'm not really that asked about a goalkeeper coming in. I think we're going to sell either Ward or Iverson. Yeah. Potentially Ward if Enzo sees him the way he does Brendan and goes, I need Iverson in because you're useless, mate. That was pretty much what Brendan said to him after about 16 games too long of waiting for him to improve. I think we would have a number one. It's got to be between Ward and Iverson for that segment. I don't understand why we're being linked with a keeper. Anyone will probably agree with me here. We've got areas that we need to improve on, and we've got areas that we're going to need to potentially strengthen upon. You've already mentioned it, Harvey Barnes. Well, if he goes, as much as I love good old Kevin, who was good to see on the training ground video today, Chris, if you've seen it, smiling, that leaves us with only one wide player. So, folk, I'd rather see us linked with outfield players than a goalkeeper, because obviously we also have that, 21-year-old who's now the under-23s goalkeeper. So
Yeah.
we've not like we're short on them.
No, exactly. And I guess, look, any player that's Man City based is going to be linked with us because that's where he was.
Well, can we get linked with Kevin De Bruyne then instead, if that's the case?
Don't think he was in the under 23s, was he? We don't know. We don't know, Leon. I haven't seen anything mentioned. Apparently, it was in a. I think Brad said it was in a Nigerian paper because obviously he's Nigerian. So I've no idea. But look, I mean, again, I think we're going to be. I can see, and I hope we don't turn into a Nottingham Forest and end up bringing about 30 players in. We're going to need a bigger squad because we're playing 46 games. We're playing more games just in the Caribou because we're in from round one. So we are going to need a bigger squad, obviously, and so there are going to be more signings. I don't think the goalkeeper is necessarily the one of the areas we need to be looking at. And again, I think you mentioned it as well, Brad. We've got Smithies, which, as a joke, for the cup games, he's got the experience in this division. So if we've got to sell one, whether it's Ward or whether it's Everson, I've got my preference as to which one I think should go. But it's whoever we can get the most money for, isn't it?
Not necessarily. I mean, from a fan's point of view, it seems like that, but it's going to be sell which one Enzo doesn't want to be the number one, because you'd imagine if you said, and less fans won't like it, most of them might not, but if Enzo goes, Ward, I prefer you as my number one, Iverson, are you happy to be the number two? And he goes, no, I want to be number one, then it's going to be Iverson that we sell. If it's Iverson, I'm impressed by you, you've got the edge over Ward, you're my number one, Ward, are you happy to be number two? No, I want to be playing first team football. Then, like I said, Smithies would become the cup keeper for maybe coming on against Burton in the first round. The under 23s keeper might be chucked on, and then Smithies comes on for the penalties, becomes a new Peggy off Axel, if you will, of the goalkeeping world. We don't need a goalkeeper. Like I said, Chris, far more areas of not concern, but areas that we know we're going to have to not go mad on in the market. Like you said, don't not come knocking the Forest, but it might be a case of, well, we've already done it with Harry for Yori, haven't we? So it's okay. We need another one if Barnes goes. We need another one if X, Y, and Z goes. So take it as it is. Take it as tomorrow, as Enzo said. Tomorrow is where we look for.
Yeah. Glenn says Allison performed well at championship level for Preston. Look, I think either of those two that you can see there that are the Leicester keepers would do a job for us next season. I don't, like you said, Brad, it just isn't at the top of my shopping list, if I'm honest with you.
Yeah, he's not.
This guy has been linked, and Glenn is in, so it's very interesting to get what Glenn's thoughts are on this guy. Callum Doyle spent last season with you, Glenn, in the Sky Blues, but apart from that, we won't hold that against him. Doyle sponsored by Boyles there. Yeah, all right, I'll move on. Man City, Man City again. So therefore, the obvious link. Championship experience. I think he was there all season. Glenn will tell me if I am wrong. Thoughts on that one?
Again, and I'm not afraid to say at this point, I make it all the time, it's lazy journalism, because he plays for Man City. He's probably played with Enzo at the under 23 level. He's just had a first season. I'm assuming it was a full season like you, Chris, because I don't really know much about him or anything at all, if I'm being perfectly honest. At least it's an area of where we're going to need depth, because of the fact that I think Enzo's pretty much already told Evans where he can go if he's going to and ah anymore. He can and ah in the unemployment list, unfortunately for for fans of Evans, because we need to get players in and be strengthening, sorting spots out. And that wink at the end, kind of said it seems like that's a Coventry fan saying, please don't sign him because we'd like to bring him back to Coventry. So if it's to one up Coventry, sure, bring him in. But I don't know enough about him. And again, the one thing that kind of makes me just kind of not really care, with the greatest respect, is Man City. You know, we're not talking a well-established player in a position that they're wanting to get rid of. It's not like we're after Nathan Ake. I know he's done really well last season, but you know what I mean? If you were thinking anyone from there who has a bit of championship experience, it might have been Nathan Ake until he had the season he had last season under Guardiola. It's just a kid, man, who played with him for a couple of years at the
Well, he
Premier
said
League.
here, Glenn, in all seriousness, great if you play LCBs, great passer, good defender, England under 20 international, thought he'd go to Premier League or abroad on loan. I mean, it's reported in The Athletic, so I've got to say, one of the more reliable sources. And, you know, look, despite everybody moaning, oh, you put in all these players, links to this and links to that, I run a Leicester City site. That's Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. I mean, if I don't put these links up, what the fuck do we talk about? You know what I mean? So that's why they're put up. And I will put them up whether they're from the Sun. I don't give a shit. Then we said, there, it's the Sun, blah, blah, blah. People that own the Sun own Sky Sports. And if it was Sky Sports, you'd be believing it. But in fairness, this has come from Rob Tanner at The Athletic. So it does tend to carry a little bit more weight for me. That and Fabrizio are the ones that sort of carry, and John Percy at The Telegraph, in fairness. So it's coming from The Athletic. The report also claims that Leicester are interested in bringing door to the King Power Stadium on a permanent deal with a versatile defender valued between 7 and 10 million. The Foxes have so far signed centre-back. Well, we know they've signed. Again, 7 to 10 million at that money. I mean, he's only young, isn't he? You know, so yeah.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. If it is one of them 3 million Man City players, yeah, if it's one of them 3 million, if it's one of them 3 million Man City players that we're in link with does come to Leicester, he's young, he's hungry, keen to impress. You don't drop down to the Championship to not put in the effort from Man City, sort of thing. Enzo will obviously know him, so he'll know if he's got the right work ethic for what he wants. And again, Chris, if he comes in on, say, like a 3, 4, maybe even a 5-year deal because of his age, we can get him in on a longer contract. Then we have Cody and Winks. Then you know you've got a committed player who's going to be there for the long haul, whether that's slowly building promotion back to the Premier League or it's an instant return and he gets to really test himself against the Premier League next season. That will tell. But if he does come in, it's a great asset, and it's an area where we just need to add a bit more bodies to that area. It's not a necessity with FaZe and Sutar, but depending on whether we play a 2 or 3 at the back, we're just going to need to add a few more bodies to this. So I wouldn't be against him coming in.
No. I'd be more impressed if we bought youngsters from Man City rather than loan them. Thing is, it's a double-edged sword, because if you buy somebody who's 19 and he turns out not to be the player that you thought he was going to be, then you're buggered. But if you loan them with an option to buy, to me, that's the perfect scenario. And I say, look at how many players we apart from Lloyd Dyer, there wasn't many players that we brought with us up from League One. PSG of the Championship, said he. Ronald McDonald. Oh, I could just do with the McDonald's. You do. Oh, that retro Cov shirt from last season also reminds me of the late 70s. Wasn't that brown though? I think that was that one, but I think the away strip was in brown.
I couldn't tell you. I wasn't even Well, my dad was only a couple of years older, let alone me in the 70s, so I couldn't tell you the Coventry shirt.
I do remember they had a strip like that, and the away one was, I'm pretty sure, brown, and it even now is is voted one of the worst strips of all time. Look, to be honest with you, we have got three centre backs at the moment. Because, like you say, as much, and I love Evans, but I think his time has come. I think he needs to go. He's not the player we need because he isn't going to last 3 or 4 games and he'll be injured in this league. And there's a lot of games to get through, so we do need more defenders. And look, we've got our own our own youth players to come through. Of course, we've got those as well, but we have got to build that squad up. Okay, done deals. Let's have a look because we've done some done deals this week. They've been done, Brad. They have. Deals have been
Have
done.
they? Have they been done? Are you sure these deals have been done, or the deals been done and the done have been dealed?
No, they're done. They're done deals. They're done deals.
They're done deals. Okay.
Done deals. This one surprised me. We touched on it and you weren't overly impressed, but Nathan Apoku. We signed it. I can't see. I mean, I'm not sure about this because he only made 7 starts. He scored 3 and assisted 2 or something in those games, but they've given him another year over in Belgium, which I suppose is like our championship. But is there another season-long loan? I suppose it's doing us no harm, is it?
It's doing us no harm, but I'm going to say this right now. It's a Bartosz Kaputska. He won't be a Leicester player after the season. Unless Enzo sees something in him worth bringing him in, he'll be sold next season. I've got this feeling that he's one of. I don't think there was any logic to buying him in the first place. I think it was a drastic panic buy. Can we get someone desperately in the club? So we've made more than one signing, which was FaZe. I'm sorry, he might prove me wrong, but the fact that he's gone straight out and we haven't even thought about putting him in the development squad to the loan, I would not be surprised if he walks out the door a free agent.
Will he get more experience playing for Laven though than he would for the development squad?
Well, what would you rather have, Chris? Would you rather have your assistant manager or on the odd occasion you yourself being able to attend under 23 games and seeing in person, or someone sending you over a USB stick or sending you a viral message, if you will, send you a YouTube or a message on Facebook saying, here's your loanee you've got at the Belgian club, and him going, great, okay, I've got to watch this on my phone or laptop.
I'm sure we'll have scouts over there. I mean,
I'm sure we. But what's easy to see it with your own eyes? We see it with your own. See what I did there, or hear it. You know, I mean, I'm not saying he's not going to trust his scout saying, "Oh, we need to develop, need to get him working on this." I just feel like that's because who was the other? Who was it? What was the defender's name? Benkovic. That was it. That get ready, Chris. Bellend. Yeah. Bellend brought over. I'm going to make you work for these bottom presses, mate.
You bloody are. Look, give me a sign that you're going to do
I do.
it.
I say.
Bellend.
I do. I say, get ready, Chris. That's my way of saying
get
it.
ready. And it's on a different. You know how StreamYard works. I've got to nip over to another page.
Oh, wow. There you go. But no, I mean, he went off to that I can't pronounce. I'm not going to say. He went off to the Belgian other club, and look what happened to him. Yeah, you say it, Chris. I'll just say the Belgian club. You know,
it's not much I can get right when it comes to foreign.
I know. I mean, he might prove me wrong, like I said, but the fact that the club haven't even considered, or Enzo hasn't even had a chance to look at him, has he? Really, he didn't any training. So
let's be honest with you, he came in under the last management structure.
Exactly, as well. And normally,
no favours, is it?
Yeah, and that's the thing. Normally, 9 times out of 10, Chris, when it's a different manager, when it's not the manager that brought you in comes in, and you're not at the club at a starting point, you normally find it's a case of, no, get out, sort of thing, in the nicest way. I think he'll be gone next season. I'm kind of glad that he's not with Leicester because it kind of tells me where he'll be next season. It won't be at Leicester.
Scott says, is there no market for us as a club for the players in the French league? Look, we've been there. We know the French league well. Katey, Mahrez. We will. Kanaka, let's be honest. We will be looking at that as well. But we've got an Italian manager. And, it's that's, I think, why we're looking at Man City. Tony, he's apologising, but you don't need to, mate. You don't need to at all. He said he left because he had a...
Did well, mate. It's all right.
You were doing absolutely fine, mate. Absolutely fine. So don't worry about it at all. Terry is about to be booted out because he says we've still got... Yeah, no, let's move on, shall we?
300-second timeout.
Yeah. Poku seems to be another Kramaric. Well, Kramaric was half decent, actually, in fairness to him, wasn't he?
Yeah. Yeah.
But look, we've spoken about them a hell of a lot, so let's have a look at them. First of all, Mr. Connor Cody. As soon as this guy got linked, I'm like, sign him. So I cannot believe, and it just, what we were saying before about loyalty from players.
Yeah.
Because why would they go to Saudi Arabia? It's because they have got short, spans as footballers. 18 months ago, this guy was in an England squad. He was playing for Wolves. He'd been in Europe with Wolves. He'd captained them to out of the second tier that we are now in. And then suddenly, again, like we've just said with the Poku, a new manager comes in, and it's like, fancy you. And that's fair because a new manager comes in. He's stuck with players that he didn't want, that are left at the club, but may not play in the style of football or in the formation that he wants to. So I get it totally, but my God, did this excite me.
Yeah, it did, and there was a lot of people all around social media clamouring to comment on posts. I saw a lot of people, yourself included, Chris, when you were tweeting about it, and others were in a post on Facebook going, if Leicester get him, it'll be a great signing. Wow, surely not. Surely they can't get him. We'd want him here. I saw a couple of fans, I hazarded a guess, they were like Fulham fans, that sort of mid-range Premier League finishing side from last season, saying, "Oh, we'd take him in a heartbeat here. He'd be brilliant. The experience, madness that Everton are selling him." And like you said, Chris, it was one of them that when we probably first heard it, we went, "Nah, yeah, okay, that rumour will last about 3 days, and then they'll go and sign for Fulham or Brentford or something like that for 8-12 million pounds." And again, we talked about a lot of things that we have. I think our uniqueness in the fact that we're very financially stable in the division we're in. I think the training ground, like was it Jeff that said, or Terry said earlier, one of them too. I don't know how I confused the pair of you. Sorry, guys, but you know which one I meant.
It was Terry, Jeff not in.
Yeah, I should know that because Jeff doesn't operate under his own name, does it? It's his.
No,
so. But yeah, there was a lot of pulling power. And again, look where he's coming from. It's not a long trip. He can stay in Wolverhampton where his family's settled. There's a lot of factors behind the transfer move. And if you've ever seen videos of old managers talking about why didn't you try and get a certain player and what happened to that deal, it was, well, he's 300 miles away. He's 100 miles away where he is now. He had 2 kids at that point in his career. And a club 20 miles down the road came in for him. And he was willing to take that over us. We offered, and a lot. And it's promising, Chris, because, like you said, he went out on loan from Wolves for whatever reason. That manager didn't like him. Maybe that's obviously. You what?
On loan to Everton.
Yeah, that's what I mean. He went on loan from Wolves to Everton. Yeah. Sorry, that's what I meant. Yeah, that manager at Wolves clearly doesn't like him or rate him for whatever reason, but. It would have been remiss to someone not come in and paid the same what we did for him. He's got, like you said, all the experience he's got, and you're thinking it shows his eagerness and commitment to the clause that he was sold by Leicester, because you have to sell a player a dream, don't you? You always have to, no matter what league you're in, to the reasons they should come join you. And the fact that before we could even start joking that it's never going to happen, he was signed. He was a Leicester player. I mean, okay, it happened after the Maddison deal. I think we wanted to get that out of the way, give that its space before we announced Winks and Cody. But you'd imagine with how quickly afterwards it was announced that these were 2 players that were like, we're not going anywhere else. We want to join Leicester. So great deal, unbelievable value. what a player to get through the door.
I think as well, he's come from a club where he wasn't wanted at Wolves. And look, I'm not blaming Wolves because at the end of the day, he just does not, as it appears, fits into the... And he hasn't been messed about by the manager. The manager's come out and said, look, you're not fitting into my plan. It might be better for you to go elsewhere. And I think that's fair play by the Wolves manager. Oh, I can't pronounce his name, and I'm not going to attempt to. I can't even remember who it is. And he's gone to Everton, and then they've changed the manager, and the new manager that's come in says, well, actually, I want to play my two centre-backs, the two players that I had at Burnley and got me relegated at Burnley, but I want to play them over you. And so, to be honest with you, where's he going to go? But not only did we have him, but on the same day, and this is so un-Leicester-like, we signed Mr. Winks, as I want to call him, Wills for some reason, Harry Wills, but Harry Winks. Now, he's 27, Cody's 30. We had a Spurs fan on, didn't we, the other day, and he didn't speak badly of him. And let's be honest with you, he was at Sampdoria, who I don't know if they actually got relegated, but I know they were fighting relegation in Serie A. But Pochettino speaks very, very highly of him. And let's be honest with you, the managers that Spurs have had in since Pochettino, he was probably the last decent manager that they actually had. And he thought a lot of him. 30 and 27. My one worry is that and it will depending who else we now buy, but you mentioned it before. We were at one point when we were in this division before, we were the Derby and Jones club of the Football League. Les Ferdinand came to us, Dennis Wise came to us, Martin Keown came to us. All these players that...
Martin Keown came to us kicking and screaming, let's face it.
Well, yeah, but you know what... You get the point I'm making, don't you?
Yeah. Yeah, I get what you're saying, and I do get it. But then, is 30 that old for a centre-back these days? I mean, it's experience. I know that's probably a new term for instead of saying old. But 27 midfielder, look, it hasn't gone as well as he would have hoped for his time at Spurs. I know he had a couple of seasons where he was in and out of the team, but so were managers that probably didn't help him stay in the team because, like you said, one really liked him, one probably thought, what the hell are you doing here? Another one gave him a chance, probably Mourinho gave him a chance, and it's been very difficult for anybody to settle into that Tottenham team. He's probably the one out of the two signings that if it was a Premier League, I wouldn't have been all inspired by, but I think he clearly has ambition to want to play. He still wants to stay in England. He wants to prove that he's good enough to be a first teamer, and he's taken on that responsibility because he's had the torch. I would say passed for him, but Yuri had hop, skip, and a jumped to Villa Park by the time the full-time whistle was blowing after the West Ham game. So he had to pick the number 8 torch up. It wasn't passed to him, was it? So he's taken on a role that will come with some expectation, with the weight of expectation behind the player who wore it before him. I think they're probably at that perfect age, especially when you say they're here for 3 years, Chris. I know obviously Harry Winks might, if all goes well, extend that contract, want to be here 4 or 5 years. But Conor Cody will be probably at that age, just a year or a bit. Well, that'd make him a year younger than what Evans is now, wouldn't it? A year or two at least. So he'd be at that point where if we're in the Premiership and he's 33, then you're going, we have a leader in a dressing room, but we need to replace him on the pitch. We can't be having the Evans discussion, but with him. And Harry Winks would still have, he'd only be 30. Yeah. So he'd still, depending on how well it goes, and that's how it will deter Chris, he could be a player that we have for another 3 years. And again, we're doing the same thing as we've done with other players. So it's not the worst ages to bring them into.
No, fair point. And I'm just going to interrupt you with a bit of this. And it is serious breaking news. This Burnley are in advanced talks with Manchester City over £19 million deal for goalkeeper Trafford.
Well,
Burnley are in advanced talks with Manchester City over a deal for goalkeeper James Trafford, who is currently on under-21 duty for England. It is understood that the deal could be worth up to 19 million, with an initial payment of 15 million plus 4 million on add-ons. The deal also includes a 20% profit sell-on clause, a buyback clause, and a matching offer clause. The 20-year-old spent last season on loan at League One side Bolton. Trafford has featured in goal for England all four of their Euro under-21 matches and has yet to concede a goal. I guess you've got to be looking at that. I'm not sure who the Burnley goalkeeper is, to be honest with you, but you've got to be looking at that and going, well, that's probably us out of it. Or is it?
well, I'm not too fussed either way. Like I said, we've already got a stable supply of goalkeepers, even if we were to lose one. But you know, for the other one not wanting to take the bench seat again, I'm not overly fussed. It's probably more beneficial, if I'm being honest, for Burnley than it is us, because we're not in a situation, I don't feel anyway, where we're clambering around for a new number one. If they get him again, like you said, I keep going to think Nick Pope, but he's at Newcastle now. It's not their number one. I don't know who it is. Dan, the Burnley man, would be the expert to see if he's intrigued by it, or if he thinks that they're the same. But if he goes Burnley, he goes Burnley. It's no great loss to me right now with our goalkeeping situations.
No.
If we chuck Iverson and Ward out the door, then maybe it's one we shouldn't miss out on. But right now, we've got two number ones for the division we're in. So if he goes, it's no great loss. And for 19 million, probably have him for 19 million.
Yeah, no, you're right. Silver Fox is in. Good evening. How are you? Cody for captain. Seems the obvious choice, doesn't it?
It does seem that. I'm very much for a centre-back being the captain. I know I've made my voice and opinion when it was asked when we had Casper as captain. But that's more his field of vision that he can see. But you kind of get that from being a centre-back, don't you? You're the second furthest back, if you will, to see what's in front of you. We've had some very, very good captains that have played that centre-back role. Matt Elliott and Steve Walsh, just to name two very good examples. Wes Morgan as well, yeah. I mean, some say when we've had centre-backs as captains, we've lifted silverware. Others will say that's just a coincidence. I'm just putting it out there. Maybe that's the trick to our success.
Very valid point, and a very good point, expertly made, if I may say so, sir.
Sometimes I like to surprise you all.
It is a surprise, I'm not going to lie. But look, I don't want to stay on this one too long because we have wrung it out dry, really. But just quickly, James Maddison. Maddison, and I'm going to quote Chris Sutton here, he's traded immortality for mediocrity.
Wait, Chris Sutton. Let me get this straight, Chris. Let me see if I've just heard what you've quoted Chris Sutton saying here. Chris Sutton, the man who said that Leicester were worse than Celtic's B side, has now said that that James Maddison has left.
No. He said that about Brendan. But
okay. Okay. You had me confused then.
No, to quote Chris Sutton, has Maddison traded immortality for mediocrity in going to Spurs?
Well, yeah, realistically, right now. The name rings a bell once I've seen it typed on some of Dan's watch along. Yeah. Still don't know who he is per se, but I know the name now. I don't know who Percy is either.
Bum.
I mean, look, I understand the move. I understand the move. I think we always knew it was inevitable. I would have preferred him to have been good enough to keep us up. Would have been nice. It'd have bothered a bit more this season for us because sometimes it did feel like he wasn't there.
If he could take a decent penalty, it would have helped.
oh yeah, it might have kept us in the league. Oh wait, it would have kept us in the league, but we don't talk about that, Chris. I'm not bitter. I'm not sour. It's not like it's not like James Maddison is the same nationality as the Everton goalkeeper, and he knows that he keeps a label on his water bottle.
Let it go, let it go.
No, I fucking won't.
Yes, the first time I've been able to use that one. Boom, get in there.
You knew if anyone was going to set you up for it, mate, it was going to be me.
Oh, I did. Yes, I did.
The only disappointing thing I have about this deal is after all the years of Maddison being at Leicester and after everything he's achieved, I can't believe the saddening news when I realised he'd signed for Tottenham means he's retired from ever winning anything with silverware. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean...
To be honest, let's be honest with you, he's gone from Leicester. I don't really give a shit where he's gone, but because he was going.
Yeah.
I like him. I paid a lot of money for a signed shirt of him there. Not the full amount because it's slightly off skew, so I got £100 off. But I like him as a player. I think he'll probably could be a future England captain. I think he'll probably get picked more now he's at Spurs.
Funny that.
Yeah, he will be. We'll see. But look, yeah, I wish him all the best. He didn't. For me, he turned up more than Tielemans did in that last season.
Oh, certainly, yeah.
He's gone, and he went quick, and we got some money. There was no sort of dragging his feet. He actually said quite quickly that it was Spurs that he wanted to go to. Maybe, he fancied London. Maybe he didn't like red.
Maybe Mrs. Maddison wanted London lifestyle, or some are trying to say out there. You allegedly people saying that. I've seen some people.
Well, no, but and for 40 million, look, he's got a year left. So that was always going to knock it down. But it's 40 million. It's more than we paid for him, so we've not lost on him. It's helped us get a trophy or two, and he's got us into Europe, and we got some money for him, which was more than we got for Tielemans. So, and he's gone early. Yeah. It needed to be done. It hasn't dragged out. So I wish him all the best. All joking aside, I find it absolutely, totally hilarious that he's gone to Tottenham after all those Arsenal pictures that I showed at the start. But Arsenal fans don't waste their afternoons either, do they?
No, they really don't.
If you like a quiz, what are you doing, guys? Get yourself over to Leicester Till I Die TV, the quiz channel. It used to be Top 10 Battles, which was Brad's channel. This is now our sister channel, so LTID TV quiz channel. As you can see, going across there. If you want to carry on with your finger. That sounds so wrong. I didn't like that.
I'll finish. You carry on with your own finger. That's something that you say to her. Yeah, that's up to you, mate.
That's going to be clipped. That's going to be clipped. You can have your finger back now.
Don't. Stop it. You're making it worse.
I am. What we need a distraction, don't we?
You know what? I'm Premier League. I am elite. I am proper elite. No. I am Dorinda.
I am Dorinda. Hear me roar.
I love it when you say that. But get over you quiz. I think you're going to start. Is it this week or next week?
It's hopefully this week. It's going to be a contestant that you've seen on there before. If you've seen me when I did a quiz on there anyway, it's Anthony. Don't worry, guys. There is a timer clock for him, so he won't be having 4 hours to answer one question. It's a 1 million point drop we're starting with. It's a new quiz show. If you can't tell where we've stolen the idea from, just change the word point to pound and you might figure it out. It's the same sort of concept as that, so it'd be easy to follow along with. Get over there, get subscribed. I will be following me on Twitter as well, because that's where you'll see all the updates, the uploads, and when I'm going live, and I'll be advertising it on there, as well as obviously Chris will be doing that on the Facebook thing. I'm sure he'll be getting it out to get it. Why it gets
in everything. Otherwise,
oh no, I never do, Chris. I won't tag you in everything. I'll post it up on my Twitter. Follow me on Twitter to get it,
Oh no,
so you know
don't
when I'm
tag
going live.
me into it. Is what
Oh,
I'm
do tag you in it. I thought you said
tag
don't
me.
because you don't like it. Yeah, I'll be
No.
tagging Chris into it anyway. So if you're following us, you'll get the notifications. And yes, gonna find a date with Anthony. So I don't want to say a date and be held to it because Anthony and me haven't discussed that yet. But it should be this week. But follow me on Twitter, you'll find out. I'm looking forward to it, Chris. I've got everything prepped. I'm just waiting to organise a day.
Great. So if you like your quizzes, that is the place to go. We have got so many different quizzes. We've possibly got Quiz Stars The Rivals coming in. That's one that we've been talking about. We've got Room 101. The quizzes that we used to have on this channel are all going to be going over to Brad's because Brad likes a quiz. Well, he likes hosting them. He's not particularly so good at 8. But yeah, do check that out. But there is one quiz that is still staying on this channel. And before anybody says anything, yes, I do know Craig doesn't fit into the box there, but that's the whole idea. It's supposed to look very artistic and very, very modern. That's what I've got. That's the look I've gone for. Whether I've achieved it or not, I don't know. But look, this Thursday, 8 o'clock, Craig is going on to the Big Fat Leicester quiz. Brad and Dave have already been on it. How will Craig do? Find out this Thursday at 8 o'clock. But do make sure if you're going on to the website, LeicesterTillIDie.com, there's a little thing at the top on the banner that you can click that will take you through to Brad's YouTube site as well. So do, the quiz channel. So do check that out. But that's Thursday at 8. I've got the questions. I did say to Craig, what season do you want your personal one to be? And he went 15-16. And I went, yeah, right, okay. what other one do you want?
Boom.
That's one of the questions. That's one of the topics anyway. But look, going back then, let's get back on topic because we'll rush through these last few now. So I'm sure you've got better things to do. But very, very quickly, it's back. King Power. Shirts are on sale now in the online and in store. I don't know whether I particularly like it or not, but I've got to be honest with you. I think it's as I always say when it starts, I'll probably end up buying it. But I think there's a bit of a pattern in it, isn't there? If you
it is so imprinted on it. It's like I think we had a kit similar to it maybe in the 80s or 70s. It's got lines down it and the Fox's badge is printing it.
Like the what I call the Steve Lynex one.
Yes, that's it.
Blue and white. Yes.
Yeah, and it's got a Fox's head in it. Do you remember the mid 90s Walkers kit, didn't it? It used to have the Leicester badge printed in it as well. So it's a kit we're seeking for. Look, this is not a bash against their company, but I hated the FBS sponsor. No. I thought it looked horrible.
100% with you. I've washed them. I've tried everything to get the FPS off, and it won't bloody come off.
Yeah. And I know some people like it, and each their own with tasting kits. And like you said, Chris, there's probably some people out there that, like yourself right now, are a bit mumming and ahhing about it. But it does look nice to have that King Power back on it, Chris. And I'm not gonna lie. I mean, me and Jess, who I speak to on a regular basis, have already said it's a very sexy kit. It's on my birthday list. Whether I get one or not, being a 33-year-old man at July the 16th and asking for a kit for his birthday, I don't know. But if I do, it's getting brought. I'm having it.
Well, I'm hoping I'm not going to buy it because I can't. They'll go be totally because now I am old and retired. I cannot. I don't think afford that. And I want to get. Have you seen the what do you call it? The Hawaiian shirt.
I've seen. Is that like it's green, isn't it? And another colour. What?
It's blue.
Oh, it's a blue one, is it? Oh no, I thought I'd seen a design for it. I think I've seen a leak of other kit as well. But yeah, I've seen the Hawaiian one now. I was getting confused.
Yeah, the Hawaiian one is very nice. Very Milton Jonesy. So I'm like that about that. But the sun's gone in now. We might have missed summer. But I believe if again we're only going off what we see online and what have you, but the or the B strip. The second strip is like that, the old, you can't see it because it's the black one behind.
Yeah, the black and it's
with the blue diagonal stripe across, but then with the 3 stripes going down the arm.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, they all look good.
Yes,
They all do look good. Was that on about the one with the Alliance of Leicester with like the sky blue thing? Yeah, that was. Oh, yeah.
It's about the white. Like, you can't really see it. There you go. Look.
That's it. Yeah. But black. Yeah, I remember it. Yeah.
The original Leicester Foss one. That was what it was. But
very nice. The more you know, Chris.
Yeah, but I do. I mean, FBS, thank you for supporting us. We appreciate it.
Oh, yeah.
Still with the club, but it was an awful bloody logo. Not
quite
as bad as Parry Match. Parry Match is an even worse logo.
At least they weren't the main shirt sponsor, were they? They were the arm sponsor, sleeve sponsor. You don't have to pay for them as a fan, do you? You don't have to worry about them as a fan.
You don't. But look, I wanted to mention Mr. Cags. I wish Mr. Cag Soyuncu and his very large appendage all the best in Atletico Madrid. As I said, you know what I mean. Not good enough for the Bell End, but good enough for the Champions League football perennial UCL quarter-finalists.
Yeah, it's a sad one that he's gone. It was a lovely message he put out all over on the Instagram.
Because I've not, I've got it up ready, but I've not actually even read it yet. Where are we? Where's it saying?
Yeah, his Instagram message was brilliant to what he put out.
It was an honour to wear here we go. It was an honour to wear our blue kit and fight for you. We experienced it all together, from the amazing times to the more difficult period. But even during those bad times, I felt home. And that's completely thanks to you. Your chance, your support, your trust made me the player I am today. However, the time has come for a new adventure. You will always have a special place in my heart. Our bond will last forever. Thank you. I mean, when you've got one of the best ever Premier League defenders in John Terry coming in and saying, what the bloody hell's he doing training with the under-23s or whatever he was doing? Yeah, and the guy, he comes back under Dean Smith, first 3 games, man of the match.
Yeah.
And yet, I'm going to do it. I said I wasn't going to, but I'm going to do it. Not good enough for him, but good enough, like I said, for perennial UCL quarter-finalists. This is why Rodgers has ruined our club more than we actually probably really appreciate.
Well, I don't think we appreciate how much he ruins our club. I get what you mean. I get what you mean by that. But yeah, we said about when Conor Cody signed that some fans were like, I can't believe it. Can't believe we're selling him. Wolves fans were saying that. Can't believe he's going. My dad was shocked that, he was disappointed because he rated him.
He's a Wolves fan, isn't he?
Yes, yeah. And he was very disappointed. And he was just as shocked. He goes, you won't get him. Surely you're not going to get him. And then when he did, he went, well done, son. That's a brilliant signing for you lot. That'll help you come straight back up. And, anyway, thing is, we both said this, didn't we? Did the sacking of Brendan Rodgers come too late to stop him changing his mind? Because, and again, had he kept us up, and I know it's hindsight, and I know you shouldn't get sauce in your eye, Chris. It's a wonderful thing. But had Dean Smith kept us up, and Cags had that run in the team, and he'd have felt, again, wanted and needed by the manager of Leicester City, maybe he could have convinced Cags otherwise. It is what it is. The message is lovely. A bit like Maddison in a way, he leaves on a good note, and it's just a shame we couldn't have included a 1-year loan back spell on him. But I wish him all the best, and he's done the best thing, Chris. He's gone to a team in another country. Go and be successful. Go and win the league. Go and win the treble with Atletico. I could not give a monkeys what you win. I hope he has a successful career. And what a lovely message. It shows they held nothing against us as fans and people of the club. It was just that not bad.
Yeah, but I think he knows from the reaction he got whenever he was running up and down the touchline, and when he was actually finally came on, the reaction that he got off the fans, because we knew he was a good defender.
Yeah, yeah,
Well, you know, most of us knew he was a good.
yeah, we did. I
Uh,
think the thing is as well is in the nicest way possible. You saw him when he was warming up, but I think the first time he was named on the bench, Chris, he sat there. He wasn't really engaged. He didn't look it, and he started warming up, and he was chewing his gum, and he wasn't really engaged. Can you imagine? He's been downtrodden by this bell end, and you don't have to play it for that. That's just me saying it from his perspective. He's going, they're not going to get played. I don't always bother naming on the bench. Why he's asking me to warm up, I don't know. And the crowd just showed him that love, and the cameras panned to him. I can't remember who it was against, but I remember I was watching the game. The cameras panned to him, and he started smiling and clapping the fans. And it was like, we still love you, mate, even if he doesn't. So the fact that his message resembles that is he's going to be fondly remembered in Leicester fans' hearts.
Terry asked this question. He's probably seen the script, but again, we briefly touched on it before. Backroom staff. 3 of them gone. Stowell, I'm sorry to say, I actually was looking earlier because I was doing the questions ready for Thursday, and this isn't one of the questions, but it nearly was. How many times Stowell has stood in as part of the team to be the standing man, the caretaker manager?
3
never on his own. You'd have got it wrong. It was 4 actually.
Oh, for God's sake.
Even when he's not, you question wrong. But yeah, and I am sorry to see him go because he's been there a long time. But he must know every time, or at least backroom staff must know every time a new manager comes in, that the chances are that the job's going to be under risk. I'm sorry to see Stowell go. Sadler, my God, I mean, I'll book him an Uber. I'll book in an Uber to the train station. Bell End Mark II. What idiot. What absolute total. And I'm going to give him an honorary one of these because I think he deserves it. Bell End number 2, Adam Sadler. A manager is sacked, so you are then asked to go in. And he was the senior of the two because he was first team coach, where Stow was only goalkeeper coach. Sadler comes in and goes, oh, I know what I'm going to do. You've just sacked him because he was rubbish and the way he played. So I'm going to do exactly the same as he did. What prize plum-shaped plonker?
Well, I said it probably both Villa and Bournemouth post matches, Chris. I think we both said it, but when you posed the question, it made me bring it forward, and that was, what lack of ambition does this guy have? What lack of inspiration do you have? I mean, there's copying someone's homework, and then there's just giving the players the same page to copy from.
You don't copy the dumbest person in the class, do you?
Well, it's clearly the only thing he knows. He's got no ambition and no football. I said he's got clearly no ambition to be a manager because he showed no instinct to go, well, I tried to tell Brendan, you guys should play like this. So this is what we're going to do. We saw it with Shakespeare, didn't we? When Ranieri had them all confused and they wanted to play away, he went, don't worry, lads. Up here for thinking, down there for dancing. I know what you guys are good at. Go out there and do this. And look what happened. We all saw what happened. We climbed away from relegation. We beat Seville. We're the first English side to do that. West Ham had to go and mess that up, but it's all right. We forgive them. We did it in the Champions League. Yeah. But you know what I mean? We got a good revive. Kind of the same things when we had Chris Powell and that in charge for a bit. They did something a little bit different for the short spells, got a few decent results. Well, this clown, like you said, just went, I actually don't know anything. I'm thick as pig shit and literally
he was
copied.
Brought in, wasn't he, as sort of an analyst or something under Nigel Pearson.
Well, what was he analysing? How to sniff arse? Because that's all he's done.
No, but what I'm saying, he had no football. He wasn't a coach. He's kind of
into
this,
Yeah.
But I'm sorry. Had he actually come out and go, yeah, guys, that's not work.
Yeah.
30 games. All right, maybe not all those 30 games. For 22 of those games, it's not worked. So do you know what I'm going to do? I am going to throw that plan in the bin. And I'm going to come up. That was plan A. I'm going to come up with plan Q. And if we'd
Yeah.
gone out, and if we'd have lost 3 or 4-0, we could have been no more pissed off than we were anyway. But at least
Yeah.
we would have said, you know what? You tried something different.
Yeah, exactly. And I bet if you spoke to some of these managers over the years, the intern manager, I suppose is the turn, the phrase they've been given now, like Shakespeare for us and others over all the other clubs that have done it. If you ask them, I mean, most shockingly, and thank God we're not Bournemouth fans to talk about it, but Gary O'Neill getting sacked by them's horrendous, by the way, just on the point of assistants that have been successful, is if you ask someone
I
like,
agree with him going. I'm sorry, but that's a.
oh well, no, that's fair. That's each to their own. But that's probably because he didn't keep us up with a draw against Everton.
You know
but
me too well. You know me
I
too
do,
well.
I do, mate, I do. But no, in all seriousness, I bet if somebody asked Shakespeare, "What's the first thing you did to try and turn the corner at Leicester? What was the first thing you did with them players?" I bet you his response would be something along the lines of, "I sat down with the players and I got their voices. I listened to them. I spoke with them. We talked it through as a team." Because you're basically saying, this isn't working. I know it's all we've been working on, but come on, let me know. Give me your ideas. I will voice mine. And 9 times out of 10, that's where these improvements come from.
There is a story. I don't know whether it's one of those that has just gone down in the annals of history, as that it was a comment that somebody made that's sort of suddenly become history. But what was he called? Robson, the England manager.
Brian Robson.
Brian Robson. Was it Brian, the manager? No, that was the player.
Yeah. Oh my God.
I know, my mind's gone. Somebody in the chat, please. But Mr. Robson, the England manager, we were struggling. We hadn't particularly had a good start. And it was actually the players, allegedly, that went to him and said, "Boss, can we have a word?" Sat down around the pool talking to him. He listened to them, made the changes, and we actually got through and we came fourth that year because we lost to Italy, didn't we, in the third playoff? But we actually turned it round. So yeah, oh God, that's going to annoy me now. Somebody in the chat, Google it quickly.
I'm sure it is Brian Robson. It's just they both are called.
No, it's not. It's not. They can't. No, it's not Brian Robson. It's not Kevin. I've got Kevin in my mind.
You're thinking Kevin Keegan.
It's not. Yeah, it's not Kevin Robson. Oh my God, I'm gonna have to Google it. Robson. Talk amongst yourselves.
Steve.
Bobby.
Sir Bobby Robson. Yeah.
We knew it wasn't Brian, but we can't get Brian. Oh, Terry, a bit late. Come on, mate. Help us out. As soon as I type it. Bobby Robson. All right.
Sir Bobby. Well, I'll feel bad for forgetting that now.
I do.
But yeah.
Yeah. But no, so yeah, it does help. The gentleman, I mean, Terry says they can't name the new guys, though. I can name the new guys, though, Terry, believe it or not. Do you know why? I've got it up on the screen here. But the role of first team coach is Danny Walker. We won't talk about it because we don't really know about any about them, but just to run through who they are. The role of first team coach is Danny Walker, who previously served as the assistant manager of Manchester City's highly successful under-21 team. Walker has also gained a valuable coaching experience as Peterborough United's senior professional development phase league coach, whatever the bloody hell that means. Michel Del Bernardin will join as the club's new first-team goalkeeper coach, so he's replacing Stow. 45-year-old Italian arrives from Sampdoria, having previously worked for Parma in Serie A, so that's where he knows, obviously, Enzo from. Marcos Alvarez is to be appointed first-team fitness coach. The 52-year-old Spaniard has previously worked with clubs such as Real Betis, Parma, and SPAL Spal. The fitness specialist career also includes stints at Real Madrid, Tottenham Hotspur, Seville, and CSKA Moscow. And then this is one I can pronounce if I get the right mouse. Javier Molina Caballero. Those of you that know me well Well done, Chris.
Sorry, Chris, you cut out. What's the name?
What is it again? Javier Molina Caballero. So, will also join the backroom staff as first team analyst. I can say his name. I can't say his bloody position. Analyst, having worked with the likes of Atletico Madrid, Parma, and Barcelona B in recent seasons. That's a hell of a lot of good CVs that are there.
Yeah, better than the 2 couch potatoes out of 3 that we're getting rid of. I'm with you, Mike Style, long servant at the club, had many a role or multi-role at the club. Was surprised that he was let go, but it's like the big brother, isn't it? You know, somebody's going to get evicted when someone new comes in, but who is it? Who's it going to be, and how many is always a question. Yeah. Some managers, they bring in 7, 8 of their own members or old staff members. So, it's good. He's got connections from all these times around. So he's bringing an experience from his time in Italy. He's bringing experience from his time on Man City's under 23s. Good breed. I mean, there was no point bringing in that defensive fitness coach or whatever it's supposed to be, was it? Because it's him that's gone, isn't that lad? Yeah, Kunzel lived up to his name.
It doesn't sound quite as offensive.
Yeah, I mean, we had Harold Shipman training them till they were broken, and he must have been his assistant in repairing them because,
as Terry said, here, Dr. Death gone. He's gone to Glasgow Rangers. So,
congratulations Celtic on winning the league when Rangers have to forfeit their season because they got forfeit players. Yeah,
exactly. I'm going to be a little bit controversial here,
controversial?
Wah,
no.
Wah. I know, and I'm conscious of the time. So if you need to go, send me a private message. And I understand we've probably gone on long, but it has been a bit of a catch because we've had a bit of a time off. So feel free to sort of jump out when you need to go. But
bye.
Mr. Vardy saying no to Saudi Arabia. Now, look, I love Vardy. We should have a statue made for him. We won't, of course, but we should do best £1 million ever spent, best player, best bargain player to ever play in the Premier League. I can't speak enough of him, but he did not turn down Saudi Arabia because of any loyalty to Leicester, because he hasn't even spoken to the new manager when he turned Saudi Arabia down. Somebody said it's probably he decided it's not right for his young family. I have no problem with that. If that's the reason, I have no problem with that. And I want him to stay for this next season. He's only got 1 season left. If Sheffield Wednesday were to come in for him, I would buy him a taxi and say, look, you go, it's your boyhood club. You go and have a season there, mate, and enjoy yourself, But if he stays, I think he's got a role at Leicester. I think there'll be some defences if he is coming on in the 70th and odd minute that he will terrorise. But I don't think he turned Saudi Arabia down out of any loyalty to Leicester.
I think it was more a logical choice for him, isn't it? Embedded in Leicester, you've set up shop in Leicester, you've managed to wear the pants in the relationship and dictating on where you're going to live in Leicester ever since you turned Arsenal away. So I can't imagine, with the greatest respect, and all I'm going to say is it's not the most ideal family location to be relocating to for a family. So we'll leave that there. We'll move on before I get Saudis knocking at my door, threatening all sorts. We won't say anything.
And had he gone, he would have gone with my best wishes.
Oh, he would have me. He'd have earned the money, Chris. He'd have earned 300 grand a week. Very random, very random point.
Yeah.
Sorry, go on. No, yours is relevant. Mine's not relevant to Leicester, but it's a very random point.
No, what I'm going to say was, if he turned around and said, look, I'm going to go to Saudi Arabia on my own for a year and give himself a break from Rebecca, I would have said, mate,
I would have paid for his Uber. But for different reasons. Yeah. In a random note, I find this quite funny. I just saw a BBC notification, and you mentioned earlier the show that Gerrard, The former Rangers manager, and there's a reason I'm saying that, is managing that Al Etihad side in Saudi Arabia, isn't he? Celtic have one of their best players. I know it's only a Farmers League, has just left Celtic to go and join Steven Gerrard at that Saudi Arabia club. So Celtic now will hate Saudi Arabia because they've taken their best player and he's gone to play for a former Rangers manager. So
well,
I just saw it. It made me chuckle because of what you said at the start about Gerrard.
I think he's gone there because he's realised that no English club was mad enough to give him a job. Steven Gerrard.
The fact that a Celtic player's gone to follow an ex-Rangers manager, really hell.
Yeah, I mean, look, the money's there, and I don't begrudge them at all. They're giving it a go.
No.
And why not? You know, to me, it is no different to what we did. You know, the Premier League did not give a shit about the second, third, fourth, and fifth and sixth tiers at all. So why? They didn't give a shit that they were knocking the Portuguese league or they were going to be. They wanted to be bigger than the Spanish, and they are. They are the biggest league in the world now. Saudi Arabia want to have a go. Whether it was successful or not, time will tell. But we know at the end of the day, good luck to them.
Yeah, of course.
Talking of good luck. Yeah.
No. Shortest answer of the night. No. Good night. No.
I don't know. We had a few short ones at the start of Tony, bless him. I did tell him keep his answers short, but I wasn't expecting them to be that short. I mean, this is desperation, isn't it?
Yeah, never sign a player that comes back in for you. It's like being in a relationship and everything seems swimmingly going well. Then you find out she's cheated on you 16 times, and then you go and get married, you have a successful life, you become really rich, and you get all the things you deserved and worked hard for in your life, and then your ex comes back and she's, for lack of a better description, looking worse for wear. She's been kicked to the turf, and she comes back saying, I want you back, even though you're already married and moved way on with your life and had no intention of taking her back. Danny, you haven't played football in 6 years, and the last time you kicked something, it was a 12-year-old. So, no.
Allegedly.
No. Yeah. Sorry, for LTID reasons, we'll say allegedly. It wasn't a 12-year-old either. It was definitely someone of age to kick. Not that you should kick anybody, but you know what I mean. I'm not saying he's going around kicking actual children, but point is...
My lawyer sat there now going, yeah, bring me the money.
You better call Sal, mate. If you know Breaking Bad, you better give him a ring.
I mean, look, I've seen a mixed reaction on social media to this, that some people are actually saying, well, it's free, what have we got to lose, etc., etc. He's going
Dignity.
to on a very cheap wage. To me, all right, look, he was part of that team that won the Premier League, and for that, we will always love him. And he had a goal in him, we know that. But to me, he was never the better midfielder, whoever he was playing with. He was never better than Kante.
No chance.
He was never better than Cambiasso. And
Nope.
he wasn't even better than, I don't think, than James. I think James was the better of the two.
You will ask a lot of Leicester fans from that season in particular, in fact, the Championship winning season, which midfielder was better. They would tell you that if Matty James was fit, and I 100% agree with the statement, if Matty James would have been able to stay fit and didn't get them horrible injuries that kept him out for months on end, it would have been Matty James alongside Cambiasso and Kante, not Drinkwater.
Yes.
Now, whether that would have resulted in a different future to what the one we got, to what we've had, is by the by. The better midfielder would have been Matty James.
Yeah,
and still is.
I agree. I'd
rather get Andy King back from Nigel Pearson and Bristol City than Danny Drinkwater, because at least he's been playing football, mate.
Yeah, and he's done his coach's badges as well. So well done, Andy King.
Oh, well done, King. Yeah, hey, there you go. There you are. A couple of years later, Chris will be having a show on this, similar to this, talking about Andy King coming in as manager at Leicester. Yeah. You heard it here first, mate.
You never know. Mate, before we go, tell us about this. The Prediction League.
Yeah, so come and have a go if you think you're hard enough, as they said. If you want to try and knock this smug face off my the smug smile off my face, should I say? It's easy for me to say, apparently.
Oh, your teeth out. Somebody has done.
Yeah, I know. I'm currently the 2-time Prediction League champion of the Leicester Till I Die TV channel. But if you want to take me on and try and knock me off my perch, all you've got to do is follow me on Twitter, send me a follow, I'll follow you back, drop me a message saying, "Hi Brad, please include me in the Predictions League," and I'll tell you, £5 please. No, I won't. It's free to enter. I'm only joking. You'll get all you need then to do is give me your predictions for the Championship's full list of fixtures from that week. So it's not just Leicester, it is the whole list. The QPRs versus the Millwalls, they're all there. And it'll be from that week. And it'll be Saturday and the midweek games, if there's one before the next one Thursday. So any game before the following Thursday, include it in your predictions. Please, when you're giving me your scores, don't just put 2-1, 3-1s, 0-0s, because you might be reading them off your source on the BBC and I might be going on a different website and the fixture symbol up, and I just won't score them. I won't count them. As you can see by Chris's example there, it won't obviously be Manchester City and Leeds, but it could be
I was covering both angles there, by having a Premier League club and a Championship club in
I know you don't waste your afternoons, do you, Chris? But yeah, if you want to, so make sure if you're putting your predictions in, you're telling me who versus who and what scoreline. So for a better example, Middlesbrough 1, Millwall 0. Don't put 1-0, 2-0, because I won't have a clue who the for, so you won't get any points. You get 3 points for correct score. So if Millwall were to lose 1-0 to Borough and you predicted 1-0 Borough, you get 3 points. If it finished 2-0 to Borough, as long as you predicted Middlesbrough to win, you'd still get a point. If there's any disputes arise, tough shit on the judge. No, it's fairly simple.
I have said there that that your decision is final.
And I will. Chris will obviously, because we'll still be doing a normal show, won't we, Chris? Me, you, and Steve, where we'll get reviewed. You will get to see your updates. Do not be asking me how many points you have. If you want to keep track of them yourselves, that's fine, but don't ask me them. That will be saved for the spoiler in the show, sort of thing. So if you come saying, "Brad, how many points have I got?" I'm going to tell you enough to be somewhere on the board. I'm not going to be. That's why we're keeping the excitement to reveal it. Don't ask me your position in the league.
The weekly table will be shown every Friday in the 8 o'clock prediction show. And we've got to say once again, big, huge thank you to ex-Fox, ex-winger Steve Lynex and his Foxy 7 clothing brand, who are sponsoring it and who will be putting up the prizes, which is really, really good of him. There's a great package of hats and hoodies and everything that will be coming on. Oh, here we go.
The Prediction Show from Leicester Till I Die TV is brought to you by ex-Fox Steve Lynex and foxy7clothing.co.uk.
Back of the net.
Indeed. Well done, Steve. Thanks very much for that. So that's it. It's been a long one, and it's been a while since I can say that. But thank you so very much, Brad. If you don't want to hang on, I appreciate it's late. If you want to shoot off, we can talk tomorrow. It is not a problem at all. But thank you very much, sir. And just remind people, where can they see the quizzes?
I can see the quizzes on our second channel here at Leicester Till I Die. It is the Leicester Till I Die TV quiz show. That's a mouthful for me to say. I'm going to get better at it. And if you want to know all the information of that, the quiz, pending confirmation from Anthony, will be this week. If you follow me on Twitter at Fulltime Focus, anything and everything to do with that quiz channel, including up and coming broadcasts, live broadcasts for the quiz. As you can see, scrolling across the bottom there, follow the finger, moving on to Chris's. That's the sentence you want to hear again. But there you go. And yeah, if you go over and subscribe to the channel, again, if you subscribe to Top 10 Battles, you're already there, you're already ready. But maybe go back and check it out. Hit the notification bell. Make sure you've got it on all so you don't miss it when I do go live on there. But we look forward to having you there. And follow me on Twitter at Fulltime Focus to get it on Twitter in case you're out and about.
And yes, anybody, we do know that there are shows on there that haven't got anything to them. The shows that are on there are just to show you the different quizzes that we are doing. Somebody messaged me and said, "Why are you doing 8 quizzes all at the same time on the same day?" I give up. Brad, thank you.
No, Chris, you should tell them from now on. Yeah, he's doing it. He's going to ask one question from one quiz and one question for another one. The quiz is 8 in 1.
I wouldn't put that past you because you'd get the answers mixed up, wouldn't you?
Well, someone might get a point then. That's how I'm doing it, Chris.
That is true. Mate, thank you so very, very much. If you want to stay on after, we'll have a chat. If not, and you need to go, that's fine. We can chat tomorrow. But thank you very much, and catch us on Thursday. Do come in and see whether Craig can beat your score or not. He's not very confident.
So can I just be in the background so I can go, boo, get off the stage?
I'm sure you can comment. I'm sure you can comment.
All right, sure, mate.
All the best then. Take care, buddy.
Take care, mate. Take care.
Bye-bye.
He's done that wrong, folks. How are you doing at Leicester TV? The host that can do.
There we go. Shut him up. It's been a long day.
Oh, I tell you what, I might remember my answers and forget the questions, but at least I stay on the screen, mate.
At least I can afford bloody electricity, mate.
I was walking into the kitchen. I was about to blind people and do this. So that was very nice.
All right, mate. Speak to you later. Cheers.
Speak to you later, mate.
Oh, honestly, I used to be good at this, allegedly. I don't know when it was. I will see you Thursday, 8 o'clock, right here for the Big Fat Leicester quiz. We'll be having Craig on, who obviously is very, very good with the questions. We'll see what he's like with the answers. He's not feeling very confident. Thanks to Tony for popping on. Become a member, like it says there, for $1.99. Click the button below on YouTube, and you too can come on the show. And I will see you Thursday, like I say, 9 o'clock. Be there or be square. See you then. Thanks very much to everybody that was in the chat as well. Take care.
Thanks for watching. These videos are tremendous. You better like them too, or I'll be back.
This podcast is proud to be part of the TalkSport Fan Network. TalkSport. Powered by fans.
That will conclude this evening's entertainment.